What is up? I'm Annabelle Hasselbeck here with Kasey Hudson, and this is Respect Her Game, and I'm so excited to welcome on Kat Ellis, sportscaster and creator of Out of His League. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to have a little girl party
today. I know.
Ooh,
We had a good little girl game. We had a good little chit-chat beforehand. We are a local mass girl, so super excited to have you in the Nesson studio, but I know we're going to talk hockey, media, and all things. But first, it's a summertime, so what's been the most fun part of your summer so far?
The lack of hockey. I hate to say it, hockey took my life into June this year, and I'm like, I don't want to see a stick until training camp starts. Keep them away.
I feel like that's one of the cool parts about like the honesty of it, because it's such a grind, and like
such a grind.
You're back and forth for one.
Yeah.
You were in Colorado for like enjoying the rest of the hockey season that took you into June. So like, how do you pivot that hat of like you are in content creator mode and then you're in like supporting mode, but like hockey is your life in a lot of ways?
Yeah, it's kind of like a day by day, take it by every play that I get kind of thing. Yeah, and I like usually separate the two of being like a supportive girlfriend to my boyfriend who plays hockey and like my job as a content creator. But then we had a little bit of overlap in playoffs. They mic'd me up for a game, and I was like, oh my God bless all the family members that ever do that. That was a one and done. Like the whole time I was just like, the Boston in me was coming out. I was like, you guys are gonna have to bleep this whole thing. But it was
extra
so
editing
fun.
on their hands.
Yeah, the poor editor just beeps, 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 beeps. But I was like, God bless everyone that ever does that. I have so much more respect for you, and I'm sorry if I've ever mic'd you up for a game.
Yeah, well, it's good content, but I would love to ask you about that, just being from Boston and your love for hockey. How did that influence your role now?
It was everything. I mean, my journey started before I can even remember. I was a rink rat growing up. My dad played hockey. He actually was a goalie at Boston College.
I know, I heard that. It's so awesome.
And then my brother, who is probably more influential to me while I was alive, he played hockey at Harvard. He was a captain there. So I was just literally raised in a rink, just running around, following him to all his games. And I think it just made me fall in love with the sport and appreciate everything about it, more than just what happens on the ice and the analytics, but also getting to know him and all his friends and his teammates beyond the games. It made me fall in love with everything, all the culture about hockey. So definitely my number one sport.
Oh my gosh. And like the many journeys that kind of play into it, because I fell in love with hockey because it tied into like my chaotic background. I hate to label everything as instability, but as a military brat, it's very unstable. Then you meet guys that take, you know, the USHL route or go to juniors in Canada, but they're not from Canada and have billet families and all these things. So like what I liked when I first saw your content is that you started trying to play hockey at one point, and then you tried to put like your own spin on it. So talk to me a little about your personal hockey journey and how that changed out.
You know, I'm very self-aware. I knew my role, and I knew it was on the bench, on the team, and I was kind of the personality hire of the team. I think I only made my high school team because we literally didn't have enough girls for a full team. We literally were picking up girls.
That was me with tennis.
Yeah, we were picking up girls from the middle school to play on our high school varsity team because there weren't enough girls. But I wasn't the greatest, but I was like, I'm gonna cheer everyone on to be the greatest. I literally made bows for our hockey team. We definitely were the only girls that played hockey with bows in our hair. But yeah, I was pretty aware of that, and I knew it was time to hang up the skates for me. I'll still skate every now and then, but growing up, it was so fun because my dad actually coached me back before like there was like nasty standouts that went club and all that. When it was just like little squirts and peewees, I still kind of kept up, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and it made like me and my dad's relationship so close because he coached me, and yeah, I think that made me fall in love with it even more. But I was a forward. I was really fast. I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I'd skate around, but I didn't know where I was supposed to be on the ice.
Yeah. And then speed never leaves you, so I'm sure if we threw you on skates right now, you would still
burn all of us.
Probably. Yeah. Just a little dash.
There you go.
Don't ask me to stop.
Okay, well, actually, that's how I collected my first concussion playing.
Well, there you go.
Exactly. It was like, oh my gosh, the puck's coming at me. Wait, the net is right there, and then it was just like this fun collide. So yeah, we'll probably throw up footage eventually because I have zero.
We each got different skills. All right.
Yes.
It's all good. You can't stop and speed. You know, all the things.
All the things.
But I would love to know just a little bit about your BU journey, because you go there, you're the team manager, I believe, first for the men's ice hockey team at Boston University, and then you get to be the rinkside reporter. So how did that come about?
So I became the manager because the assistant coach actually came from Harvard, and he had been my brother's coach at Harvard. He came over to BU, knew I wanted to do something in sports. They were looking for a new student manager, brought me in for an interview. I don't know how real the interview was because he literally knew me since I was like 12 years old. But I got the job and it was the most incredible experience of my life. I transferred in, so I didn't really know anybody. And this was like pretty much my way of like joining a sorority, but it was the hockey team.
Very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess probably more like a fraternity than a sorority. But it was incredible. And within my first, I think, 3 weeks of working for the team, we actually went to Ireland for the Friendship Four tournament. And I spent Thanksgiving there with the whole entire team. I didn't even like know any of their names, but I was like to my family, oh, sorry, I'm gonna miss Thanksgiving this year. And I'm gonna go with all these hockey players. And we're gonna have dinner in the Titanic Museum. And we're gonna go to Belfast and Dublin. And they were like, what? But it was absolutely incredible. And I met like the most incredible group of guys. And it's so fun now seeing so many of them are playing professionally, and some of them are even going into coaching. And it was like such a unique college experience, but I'm so glad it happened the way that it did. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so sick. But to add to like the rinkside portion of it, because I feel like now there's a little bit more creativity to rinkside, and like you do have the content creator aspect to things, but like what's your preparation like? Because people don't realize there's a lot going on when you are doing rinkside reporting.
A lot, and I think the most underrated aspect is how on your toes you have to be.
Yeah.
I feel like going into it, I didn't realize, you know, you're making your outline, you know what's going on with the game, but you don't know what's gonna happen in that specific game. When you're gonna have those hits, and you're gonna have those interviews with players and coaches, and as you're walking from the media box down to do the interview, someone could score and everything changes, and your player changes, and your questions change, and the whole entire game narration changes. So you have to be really on your toes, but just like knowing what's going on and being aware of it, and then being like, oh, we gotta pivot, and being okay with that.
Yeah.
I always have like a batch of backup if I forget everything I'm saying, questions, but yeah, the preparation, just like stay on it, know what's going on, be obsessed with it.
That right there, being obsessed with it. I think that helps you with pivoting, because then sometimes you just have the ability to be like, I'm going to take it in this direction because you know this person or you know this player, or like, you know, there's a storyline that can play into that moment until you can kind of get a grasp on the reins, I would guess. Yeah.
And I've seen firsthand now, it doesn't matter if you're in college or if you're at the premier NHL hockey game, the reporters are still dealing with the same thing, where the player they wanted to interview, maybe they get hurt, maybe they need to go get stitches in between the periods, and then they have to totally pivot and ask all new questions for a new player, and you got to know what you're doing. So the background research beforehand and the preparation is just another level.
Yeah, it is great for you though to have an eye now for what that role is, and really the intricacies of it, because I think a lot of people will look on social media and they'll see, oh, it's so, you know, glam and glitz and all things, but like, you know, the hard work, you know, the grittiness that it takes really to have that role and to be prepared. But I'd love to ask you a little bit more about just the BU hockey experience, because I went to BC, but I couldn't go to a ton of the cool like Beanpot games at TD because I was playing in my own game. So do you have a standout memory from your time with the BU team?
Oh my gosh, so many. Specifically with the Beanpot, something that's super funny that I know everyone around here is going to love was one of our years there. We make it to the finals, it's overtime, it's the juiciest thing ever, and we weren't winning for BU. I think we went on like the longest streak of not winning a Beanpot in a while. And we were in overtime, and we get called on a trip. Jordan Harris, the biggest dive I've ever seen in my life for Northeastern. He legit is like Michael Phelps out there. We get called for a trip, and this guy, I was like, this was the dream week. Everything was going perfect. I was finally gonna get to celebrate a Beanpot, and this guy legit decides to dive into an Olympic swimming pool, and then they score, and Northeastern wins like their 300th Beanpot in the last 3 years. But yeah, Jordan Harris was like #1 on my hit list, and then I met him, and I'm obsessed with him, and now I'm like really good friends with him, and I'm so pumped that he's gonna be a Boston Bruin, and I'm like, take your swimming skills, we can use them on the Bruins. I'm rooting for you.
They're acceptable now.
Yeah.
Of all the things.
Now I'm rooting for them.
Wait, so I have to ask from a human perspective, because like with your passion behind hockey, is there a moment where you feel like you have to like separate cheering in the moment for something, or just like being so ecstatic about something, but like you have to be in reporter mode? Because I have been challenged emotionally during playoffs, because like I'm from Tampa Bay, and like sitting in some of those situations and people next to me, I'm like, do not react, and I want them to turn away from me so I can lose my mind.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's like almost like training you have to go through. And now when I'm not working and I'm just like at one of my boyfriend's games, I forget that I like can cheer when he scores. I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun.
You're like in broadcast mode and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. It literally requires training to see the craziest play happen and just be like, and go.
Poker face. I love that. But what you've really been able to take advantage of is social media. And I know this is something that a lot of maybe even young women would love to find a place in sports media for in using social media. So how have you used that as a tool to help you get to where you are now?
It's really been everything for me, and it's so crazy because I feel like there was no blueprint for what I wanted to do. Actually, when I was at BU working for the hockey team, whenever I had free time, I'd just make like hype videos for them because nobody was doing that at the time. And I remember handing it over to our creative director and being like, I make these really cool hype videos. Do you want to do anything with them? And he's like, yeah, we'll post them on the Instagram. And I was like, you're gonna post my videos on the BU hockey Instagram? Like what? And we did it so frequently that they ended up hiring a video producer, which they had never had before. And I remember also, this was back in, it must have been 2020, I really wanted to make the team a TikTok account because they didn't have one. And my boss at the time was like, we don't know the future of TikTok. We're not gonna waste time and resources on TikTok. Fast forward to today, of course they have a TikTok account, right? And it's literally my whole career, and I'm so thankful for it. And it's been so amazing to just kind of like do trial and error with social media. And now I really post all of my content primarily goes on social media. And I feel so thankful that it has found an audience and grown the way that it's grown, especially with TikTok, because I think there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't have found me organically if I didn't just pop up on their For You page.
Yeah, and I think the TikTok part is like so strong, but kind of sticking with that. When I first got here, weirdly enough, I got a chance to talk at BC to a class, and they were just kind of asking for advice, and I was like, I think take advantage of social media. You have a lot of networks that are kind of trying to find that balance between digital and linear, and like to see the confidence of somebody creating their identity on social media, I think is huge. That can actually play into your resume these days. So like, what advice would you have? Because some of the questions that I got in return was just kind of like, you know, what if it's weird, or what if it's awkward, or what if I'm not doing it right? And like, I know when I did it, I'm so corny for like words. Like I'll do things to consider to do hockey breakdowns, but it's consider with a K. And I was like, you have to just lean into it because you don't know what's going to pick up. So how did you know what to lean into? Or like, how do you find that confidence to just be like, I'm having fun with this and whatever happens, happens?
I love that you said that because it is exactly that. It's trial and error and being willing to take risks that maybe they feel uncomfortable, but that might be what hits the best. And really analyzing what's doing well and what's not. The things that I thought would do so well in the beginning might not have panned out. And then something that I'm like, I don't even know if I want to post this. I think it's going to stay in the drafts I throw up. That could be what goes viral. So I think it's really sitting and analyzing what people are liking and building off of that. I've done that for so much content, and that's like what I'm doing now is not what I envisioned I'd be doing 3 years ago, and I just keep taking note of what I feel like is doing well and catching people's attention and doing that. And my biggest advice would be for anybody, like if there's a girl out there who's in high school and she knows she wants to be one of you two one day, I'm like, take your phone out, walk to the nearest sporting event. It doesn't matter if it's flag football with 6-year-olds, like you can do a hit on it, set your phone up and just talk, get used to it. Every single reporter out there has their first hit that they ever did, and they're like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, do I remember it?
You just threw me back and I got a little
literally
legit goosebumps because I was like, woo.
But we all do it and we all grow from it, and it's really a tremendous part of learning how to become a broadcaster in sports. But nowadays, so many people have access to phones, and you can just do it yourself. Teach yourself how to edit. Watch YouTube University is the greatest school that exists for this career.
Yeah, I love that advice, and I think something that has helped me get over the like, oh, should I post this, should I not post this, especially when I was in college and just doing interviews DIY, right? Was, okay, if I posted this, or if my team sat in a film session and watched this on the big screen, like, would it come across as me? Like, just be yourself, right? And I think that's something that I absolutely love that is just so shown through your videos. But I'd love to ask you about your show called Out of His League. Where did this come up with?
It was just like, everybody asked me that, and I'm like, there wasn't one day that I had this light bulb moment, but fully transparently, I was doing content for a year at Barstool Sports about college advice. And I got out of college and realized really quickly, once you get out of college, you don't care about it the way that you did when you were in it. Like, I was like, maybe I shouldn't be giving like advice for things to bring to math class anymore. And I really got like the best advice I've ever gotten, that the most successful people in content make content about things that they're genuinely interested in. And I think with my background at BU, then I went to NBC Sports for a bit and Boston 25 Sports. I actually also got hired by Nessun. Never came in for my first day of work because COVID hit, but I was an employee. I think I had an employee number for a day, but then COVID hit and I didn't step in my first day.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. But I think just through that and then my personal life growing up with my brother playing hockey, I just met so many incredible women that have game days. And there's a lot of shows out there that will highlight the women working in sports.
Yes.
And a lot that will highlight the athletes. But I'm like, there's so many cool wives of athletes and girlfriends of athletes and mothers that and cheerleaders that don't get this attention. That I was like, I don't need to do this box that everybody else is doing. Any girl that has a game day has a story to tell that's unique, that will show the next generation, oh, there is a spot where I can do this. There's something I can do here, because I think today there's more opportunities to be a female involved with a game day than there ever has been before. In 5 years from now, that will continue to be the case, and there'll be a job that doesn't exist right now. So that's really what I wanted to do with my show. It's just encapsulate what's being done right now and show the next generation, hey, this could be your life.
Yeah, and I think that you do a great job of doing it, because for one, the humorous level to it, it breaks the ice. Because I think when we look at something, we're so quick to just put a rigidness to it. Like we glorify being in front of the camera, and while it's fantastic, like you can still have such a foothold in sports and not be in front of the camera. And it's just as important. Like we've got our Queen Jenny who pops up in our ear right now, and like it's just as helpful because they're the visionaries. So I love that you highlight all of these different things. Now, it's probably the worst question to ask a host, but like one of your favorite episodes, because the humorous element to it is just fantastic. Like when I first found your TikTok, I was crying laughing. Like the conversations you have with your boyfriend, in all seriousness, it's how I tortured my brother. I used to wear like soccer t-shirts. It's like, I don't suck up air on the sidelines because I played soccer and he played football. And he, well, he shredded all my t-shirts, but like sometimes you just have to have that fun with it in order to highlight it even better.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna say that I have a favorite because they're all my favorites for different reasons, but I think it's really cool if you watch the progression from one to the other, because my first one was with Amina Smith, who was with NBC Sports and now is with ESPN. And I really just like fit the mold of her and what I felt like a studio interview would feel like, and like matched her vibe. And with it, I've definitely become more myself, but also I kind of try to emulate my guest's life. So if you go from hers, it feels very in the studio, more professional, and then you fast forward to at a Bruins game with Mason Laurai's sister Zoe, and we're just hamming it up, we're having a drink, we're joking around, and that's what it feels like to be a sister at your brother's game. So I think it's again been a learning experience of seeing what works, and I'm just like naturally, I can't say a sentence without like self-deprecation or cracking a joke, and I'm like, I need to show that me, and I don't think that's really common out there with like typical podcasts or docu-series hosts. So it's just been being me, and again, being true to who you are, and I think that's helped a lot, and also just getting more confident in who I am.
Big time.
I'd love to know, like, because you've interviewed women across even different sports, covering different sports and different roles within sports, and they're on the media side or the family side, what similarities maybe have you seen between the women of these game days that you're highlighting?
Everybody wants to bring attention to the fact that athletes are people and they are humans first. And even though you as a fan might only see them when you put their uniform on, they have a whole different life that they live 18 hours of the day, every single day. They have people around them, family around them. They're going through their own stuff the way that you're going through your own stuff. They're going through their own stuff too. And maybe they didn't have the best game day today, but they might have had the hardest personal day in their life, off camera, off the ice, and that's widespread through everybody. Is we need to rehumanize these players, because it's so easy to just rip them apart online. But if you saw them at a cafe and they're sitting by themselves and they're looking upset, like, would you say what you're about to say right now? And the answer is always no. So I think that's also something I try to do with my content, especially when I'm doing interviews with wives and girlfriends of players and family members of players, is really show, like, when you attack them, this is who you're attacking. These perfect, wonderful, nice, kind women that are supporting them and these athletes. So yeah, that's like the #1 theme, is rehumanizing the players.
That's such a great way to put that, because it's true. Like, the wives have to shoulder the emotions when they get home and kind of help them compartmentalize that was
And
your
sometimes
game.
they're the ones getting like, your husband
Oh my
played like
gosh.
crap today. And
Do
she's like,
dinner.
what do you want me to do about it?
Right. I'm not training with
I
him.
didn't even see him today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, like, for siblings, you know, I actually felt that hand in hand with my brother as he was going through his career. And it was just like, you feel every emotion that they're going through, and you don't particularly always know the right thing to say or do. And not that you have to, but it's just like, it's tough. So that is a great thing to be able to highlight. But then, like, on the
Thank you.
fun part of it. So you got a chance to hang out with Zoe Leroy.
Oh, yeah.
And to be, because you've been a sister
Yep.
for a hockey player
Yep.
and also a daughter for a hockey player. So what was that like for you experience-wise?
Oh my God, it was so fun. And it actually came about the funniest way. So Mason Laurie played at Ohio State with my boyfriend, Jake. And he was a Bruins prospect. And my boyfriend, Jake, trains here in the summer, even though he wasn't with the Bruins. And somebody in the organization saw Jake and was like, hey, why isn't Mason here yet for summer training? He's like, I don't know. He's like, call Mason, tell him to get here. He calls Mason. Bruins are like, Mason, you got to get here. He's like, I don't have anywhere to live. We just happen to have a spare room in my house. So Mason actually spent the summer at my family house so he could train here coming into his first full season with the Bruins. And that just made us like so close. And I think in juniors, the term's billet brother. So we started calling him our billet brother. And my parents loved it because we're like bringing hockey back into the family again. And now he's like a brother to us. But then getting to meet his sister, and we just like clicked like that so fast. And she's awesome, and she's a hockey player too, so she gets it, and she's still in college. And she's like, everyone thinks he's like so cool now. And I'm like, he's literally a loser. Like, he's a loser. And I'm like, this is so good. Like, her humbling him again, because he's having the time of his life right now. Like, this is great. And that was an absolute blast. And his mom too. She's a hoot. She was like reading all the negative things on Twitter, and she's like, I wanted to respond back and be like, shut up.
Don't talk about my kid that way.
Yeah, I low-key love when the parents, like, they tap into
I
Twitter.
wish we could
like
make a
the good
social
old
media
days.
for parents
Yeah.
to post on.
Hey, those can get intense fast, so don't egg anyone on. Okay?
That's true.
I've seen those go haywire.
We should do better with that.
But I love getting to hear just the behind the scenes and really like the build up to those cool productions that you have with your show. But I'd love to know a little bit more about that. What does a production look like for when you film one of those?
Have you ever seen the Taylor Swift clip where she's like, I'd love to have a party for the songwriters of this album because it would just be me? No, I always bring on a videographer because I can't really shoot it and be in it myself since it's docu-series style. And Tessa McAndrews has done a lot with me, and she's incredible, and Jack Skelly as well. They've been like my most two prominent videographers, and I love them so much. But then editing, production, posting on social media, getting the guests, reaching out to networks, that's all me. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's a lot, but I love it so much, and I'm so thankful that like I know how to do all of that, and that's something that I would encourage younger people to do is like, if you think you know your job, that's great. Learn all the other 5 parts of that job, because now that I know the production side, I'm like, every time a cameraman does anything for me, I'm like, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I would die for you. And you appreciate it so much more when you know how much work goes into everything else behind the scenes. But I do hope one day I can scale it and get a bigger team behind me, because I definitely have like lost some opportunities just because one person can only do so much. But I do as much as I can by myself.
Yeah, and considering how you customize it to whomever you're interviewing and trying to emulate the atmosphere as well as like their personality, like those were a lot of moving pieces that people don't even realize the time it takes to place into all of it. Another really cool thing that you got to do, 4 Nations. I mean, we have to talk about the entire
Thank God.
approach to
I've been
all
on the
of
edge
it.
of my seat. This is
like-
my whole personality.
I mean, how does it not become it though? The world talking about it finally, for one, but then like, you know, like you said, you are able to bring like the wives and family members into it, as well as like get fun coverage and just like put your own personality and spin on it. So what was the entire approach to like 4 Nations?
Just a random Tuesday, I got an email. I thought it was spam. I was like, someone's gonna
Check
ask
your
for my
spam.
credit card information. I had to like double check that it was real. I'm like, she does work there. I found her LinkedIn. Just asking me to do content for 4 Nations, specifically an episode highlighting Emily Kaplan, which will be out very soon.
So sick.
She's incredible. And we did a day in the life with her. And then I was just like, hey, we're gonna have so many incredible women at our disposal at this event. Would you guys be open to doing more? more in addition to this episode with Emily? And they were like, absolutely, what do you have in mind? So I pitched kind of these mini episodes of Out of His League, which were ringside interviews with partners of the players on those teams. And every period I sat down with one of them and we just watched the game and did an interview as we were watching the game. And I think it was the perfect example of what I've been trying to do in rehumanizing the players.
Yep.
It's seeing them, seeing how into it they are, how nervous they are. I've like never met this girl and she's Lauren McDavid's like squeezing my hand. I'm like, I got you, you're my best friend, we're gonna get through this. And it was the experience of a lifetime. The women I got to meet, the people I got to work with behind the scenes at ESPN, everyone at Four Nations, it was absolutely incredible, and it ended up being such a successful event for the league, and I'm so thankful I was a part of it, and I'm like, I will never top that day, ever in my life.
Because I think it showed you that like your vision is so possible, and like you did that in a scope of Four Nations, and not to say that Four Nations is this, right? But like it just shows like you can take your visuality and like make it so much more and expand upon it. And you have a whole hockey season coming up that I hope we get more of that.
Thank you.
And Wag Jacket Insight.
So yeah.
No, I absolutely love that. And it's
Insight.
cool just to see your creativeness like shine through, because you had to pitch that idea, right?
Yeah.
When you look back at your life, or maybe even it was sooner towards your time at BU, was there ever something like, man, I could see myself slowly starting to pick up the tools and the skills, and maybe that, oh, I see that in her, that creativeness to be able to really produce and host what you're doing?
Thank you so much. That's so nice. First of all,
it's a lot.
It is. I mean, just huge storytelling, like
Yeah.
your idea for it. Like somebody's got to come up with it. So it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just feel like it just takes like a little bit of self-encouragement and then a little bit of delusion. And that's like the recipe to me.
I do my best work delusional.
Yeah,
honestly.
and I've learned to not tell anybody my ideas because I'm like, they're gonna think I'm crazy. Because if 2 years ago I was like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna be on the glass at Four Nations with some of the best players in the world's families, interviewing them, and it's going on ESPN. I literally would have been like, Kat, like, girl.
No, but I love that.
Wake
because
up.
When you put it on paper like that, you think about all the reasons why you couldn't do it.
Right.
Right? So maybe when you were leading up to that, what gave you that, like, yeah, I'm going to pitch this idea?
Oof. Oh my God, I have no idea. They came into my email, which I'm so thankful for. And there's been plenty of times I've reached out to guests that I'm like, I have no business getting this guest, and then they respond and they're like, okay,
No
would love
problem.
to. So I don't know, just belief. And again, like this started nowhere. My whole content journey started in my basement, no credentials, no equipment. I was just like, let's just try. It's my dream. I'm gonna regret it the rest of my life if I don't just try it. And then one day I got onto ESPN, and one day I got into Nessun. And
And another day you got onto Nessun.
Another day you get onto Nessun.
Yes.
In a larger form. No, I think that you put it in a great way. I mean, basically to just like encompass all of it, you've allowed your passion to drive you to take risk. And like maybe you haven't given yourself, like I like to say, like I'm better when I don't give myself time to overthink a situation, because I'm not allowing myself to talk myself out of it. I'm just going for it. And I think that's also what translates in your work is like, it's inspiring, honestly.
Thank you.
Because I think we all second guess, like, are people going to care or like this? And we make it about us in that moment versus like, no, I just want to connect people to content. And so that bridge can become kind of difficult. So like, how does that continue to inspire you on a day-to-day basis? Because when you have to be so creative, like people don't realize the mental element that does go into all of that. You're talking yourself up and you're talking yourself through day in and day out.
I learned that statistically women are less likely to start something than men because we want it to be perfect before we start versus men are more okay with it not being perfect, that they're just like, I'll go and figure it out. And women want it to be so perfect before we ever let the universe see, because we're more aware of other people's eyes and opinions and objections, that I think I just got to a point of like, forget it. I don't care. That's me I'm being better, guys. I'm learning, the Bostonian in me. Forget it. I don't care about their opinions. I'm just going to do it. And I guarantee you there's people who in the beginning were like, she is crazy. I don't know who she thinks she is. And now I'm just like, hey guys.
It's me.
But I still have that doubt sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, is this going to work? And it's really just remembering like the small messages that I get from somebody that it took them 20 seconds to write, but it'll be like, I look up to you so much. That's why I keep going. And I have a whole message photo album in my phone of positive messages that I've gotten from complete strangers, and that's really what keeps me going. Is I'm like, wow, I really am inspiring younger girls, and I wish like one day like I'm gonna meet Erin Andrews, I'm gonna be like, you did this for me, and now I'm trying to do this for other people. Not that I'm anywhere near Erin Andrews, let me make that abundantly clear, but all it takes is one person to inspire you, and all of the women that I'm getting to have on my show, and also all of the shows that I'm getting to go on to share this story, you guys are inspiring the next generation of women, and I love that so much. And I just want everyone to know, like, you deserve seats at the table, and you deserve to take up space and share your stories, even if you feel like it's in a man's world. One day it's going to be a woman's world. Well, I think it is today.
I gained so much from this. I think you think that you're speaking to different people, but like, I don't know, Kasey. I feel like I just need to go make a few social media videos and
Absolutely.
I want to
post it.
create an album. Seriously, like you totally spoken to me today, and I'm so excited to point people to you and to have you on this show is such an honor and so fun. You got I wish we did a full fit.
I know. We didn't do the
OTGs. I need to get that trademark.
I'll try to like slide out of the way.
The games.
It is fantastic.
Oh yeah, we love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Capris are back. If you didn't hear.
Honestly, and the fact that you're wearing them so well.
Thank you. If you ever need outfit inspiration for any games, I got you. Also, Red Sox winners by miles with their new City Connects. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The Fenway jerseys, winners by far.
Well, hey, you
Good
got
job,
sports,
Boston Red
fashion,
Sox.
media, all of it covered. Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. This was a blast. Thank you. I
so
love
great.
this show. Everybody follow, subscribe, watch them. They're the best.
Woo, and when we come back, we'll get you caught up on all things WNBA All-Star Game, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Respect Her Game. We had an awesome interview. I just absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's really great to be able to find somebody who can put it in words so well, like the content creation, the inspiration, but just like the humanity and the approach, because sometimes people are like, what's your approach to your job? I'm like, get back to me on that one. Let me find the words for you. So it was so eloquently put. I was so excited to have her here. It was like months coming, honestly.
It was. Yeah, absolutely love that. But let's get to the WNBA, because over the weekend we had the All-Star Game, and it was very much so that star-studded. Friday they had the skills contest, and Saturday was the game, Team Collier versus Team Clark. But it was Sabrina Ionescu who came home with her second WNBA three-point contest championship to kick off the weekend. She went 30 for 40 possible points. Isn't that wild? Like 33 pointers.
I couldn't imagine even being able to attain that.
I think in my career, high school, middle school, and college, I had 33s total, but she totaled 37 points in her competition in 2023, so not the same, but still an incredible feat, and for her to be able to get that second championship is incredible. And then also her New York teammate, Natasha Cloud, came home with the skills competition, so New York really taking it home.
Oh yeah, and I feel like that's going to be something that they carry into kind of momentous moments in this season. I've talked about kind of like how you can draw from the Olympic break, and sometimes all-star stuff, we kind of minimize it, you know what I mean? But like with the way that things are picking up in the WNBA, like that could be a moment that New York is like, hey, we just won it. We're showing you guys that we have this individual skill set to just bring into a team environment and like go for another push.
Like look who we got. And also, there's a lot of money on the line, okay? So this was an amazing moment.
Are those your money signs,
These are my money signs. Yeah, I kind of put these up a little lower than the table, but yeah, these are my money signs. There was an amazing moment. Siania Citron from the Washington Mystics was one of the only rookies in this competition, and Sabrina Ionescu had a really cool moment, so you have to hear what Sabrina Ionescu did.
Well, I told Sonia that I would give her half if I won when we were sitting on the bench, as being like the only rookie, and you know, she was nervous and I was nervous for her, like, you know, and so I obviously have to hold up my end of the bargain, so half is going to go to her. I got to text her and let her know that I'm going to give her half of it just for participating. Like, that takes a lot of courage to be able to do that as a rookie, and what she did, and I was really proud of her. And then the other half will go to my foundation to continue to be able to give back in communities that mean a lot to me.
Okay, so do you think she jokingly said it? Like, yeah, I'll give you half, or was like, no, like, I'm going to give you half?
I don't know. It felt like she really wanted to give her half. But then
she was like, I got it. Like, my hands are tied. I got to give you half.
Maybe it was one of those moments where, like, you know, when you offer somebody something, they're like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. You're like, okay, I won't worry about it. Like, maybe Sabrina's okay.
No, this was definitely absolutely happening. But I love that she also gave the other half to her foundation, which is just so cool to see these players really give back in this special moment. But she was also wearing her Bring the Heat shoes. It was like that one color wave that she has in her own shoe. And I'm like, man, we talked about this with Halliburton throughout the NBA playoffs. Like, what a perfect way to market your own brand. I mean, come on. If I'm anybody, I'm throwing on those.
And then to talk about bring the heat, and I mean, what did she do? She brought the heat when it came to loading up on three-pointers and making it look easy. I'll never get over that. It's not an easy feat. And I had a feeling, I was hoping that she was going to return to the crowndom. Is that a word? Like, take the crown back?
Make it.
I'm going to make it one. That she was going to take the crown back when it came to the three-point competition. So I was psyched for her to do that, but able to have like the display for her shoes at the same time.
Definitely. And a couple weeks ago on this show, we were talking about how Kelsey Plum helped Sarah Ashley Barker on the Sparks get some of Sabrina's shoes. And so, Sarah, if you're listening, all right, throw those shoes on, girl.
Could you, and then by the way, your marketing assistants, just help us out, help you also. Like, I feel like we could dress it up and market it accordingly.
100%.
Yeah, I trust us.
I love it. Well, before we get to the actual game, there were some special rules for the All-Star game that definitely shows how the league is trying to make this more entertaining and really an event. So the 4 big new rules were there's a 4-point shot, which really reminded me of that Caitlin Clark commercial that's like from the Target. You're shooting from the Target, because you look at the photo of that, and I think we have it here, but pretty wild how far out that 4-pointer was. They shortened the shot clock to 20 seconds, live play and subbing, which is like hockey and lacrosse. So how do you feel about that?
You touched right on exactly where I was going. Like the live play, being able to pick up the pace and things and move it around, because we talk about like how clear some of these players are, like very strategic, very tactical, very cerebral. Like when the pace picks up on certain things, like to see how the decision making how you can pick up and how quickly you can translate your game, like that's going to be fun. And of course, we all know I live off of that, so I'm going to be looking forward to that. But like a 4-point, like that's wild. That's skill
wild.
to a whole different degree.
Well, it was also probably hard for the players too to adjust to the live subbing, because I know when I would go from basketball season into lacrosse season, like, wait, what's going on? Like it's
going to open communication. Like it's going to force a different communication style. It's going to open that up, and then I mean you're going to have to learn how to get to the point in a number of ways and trust it. So the trust process is going to change. The communication style is going to change. The pace picking up is going to obviously show like, okay, who's constantly in that tactic state of mind.
Right, and they also changed to no free throws until the end of the game, which I thought was really smart, because you do want it to be fast. You do want it to feel different than a normal game.
Yeah, that's true, and that can be a complete difference of it. I mean, look, if anything's close by and you're like, wait a minute, both of us have a couple more points on the line here, like you're not breathing until that final buzzer for real this time.
No, well, the thing that really stood out besides the changes in the game were the shirts that the players wore. They came out into the game with these shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Shirts that really represented what these players have been fighting for. And the players after, really as a general consensus, felt like, yeah, our mission was accomplished, because the stands, the fans in the stands started chanting, pay them. And I think for the WNBA athletes, like that's really what they want, is they want that public sense of pride and that public ovation really to come around them.
Well, I'm so glad that you started with that, getting the public on board, because of course when you do anything that requires any sort of statement, right? The t-shirts were a statement. You're going to set a fire to social media. And part of that fire were people just kind of challenging either the worth of the sport, the worth of the professional league, and you have to open the conversation to educate yourself. So for the amount of people that feel like WNBA is still kind of in this slow crawl to have the proper investment behind it, to pay these players accordingly, to get the right eyes on it, you got responses that really educated fans across all social media platforms to say, actually, viewage percentage has gone up. These faces are now becoming more recognizable. And if they're becoming more recognizable, if they're inspiring the next generation, if college basketball is getting more eyes on it because more women are trying to go into the WNBA and keep women from going overseas to play and establishing their careers here, there is worth behind that, which means the penny now has to make sense. So they opened a conversation that needs a lot more voices in it, and a lot more voices with the right education and direction behind it.
Right, and I think it's important for people to realize that, like, we're all human, right? The WNBA commissioners and everyone on her team, like, they're all human, and public pressure is real. And so I think the players were recognizing, hey, like, we're going to use this All-Star opportunity to really make it as public as we can, that this is a priority for us.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like them coming together and doing it. You can't just be like, oh my gosh, it's so-and-so who always has something to say. Or, you know, Caitlin Clark has been weathering a lot of different criticism as of late. And we talked about her mentioning on, like, what was it, her live Instagram, when she was like, you know, NBA, like, how do we make more in the WNBA or less in the WNBA finals? So everyone coming together, like, you can't isolate a voice and say, oh, this is just this personality doing this. Like, I think it emphasizes how important it is to actually have this conversation with an open mind and like a realistic perspective.
Yeah, and that's not an easy thing to organize. Like, I would love to know like how they went about getting the shirts out.
Who printed the shirts?
Hey, but yeah, who printed the shirts? Like, you know that was gonna be Twitter leaked or something. I mean, also like, hey, everyone's got to wear it. Like, that's also part of this whole thing too. So like, you know, cheers to them for being able to pull that off, because it's definitely not an easy thing, but you need leaders like Napheesa Collier and Caitlin Clark and Breonna Stewart who are out there really advocating for the WNBA, who are also succeeding at what they're doing. Like, I think as much as you want to say, yeah, anyone obviously has a voice, like it helps so much when you are dominating on the court. And that's what I think I've so respected about Napheesa Collier. She's out there saying, hey, we want to keep our women in the WNBA in the States. Like, we don't want them to have to go play overseas. We'll bring you Unrivaled. Like, she was really the leader in this whole Unrivaled league, and for her to be able to do that and then get, you know, MVP of this game and MVP of basically everything else, like it's really impressive. And I think it matters when you are trying to be that activist face for your league.
Yeah, I think the timing of it too is like, it matters tremendously, because some people, I mean, you and I have to keep a close eye on everything going on with the WNBA, but if we touch back to like in between the Unrivaled series and shortly after it wrapped up, what were we seeing? Rumors of a potential holdout, and we were seeing like Angel Reese use her podcast to be like, you know, there's going to be a call to action here. Like, we deserve more. And then, as you talked about, keeping women, giving them the opportunity to play in the States and not have to go elsewhere to have a career and take that next step. So, I mean, all signs have been pointing north. We knew that something along these lines were going to come. I love that they were able to keep it a surprise, because it emphasizes the conversation. But yeah, I just wonder, everyone whose hand was in the mix, they did a very great job of keeping it super hush, because this was a surprise in a number of ways.
No, I loved it, and I think that just shows you like the level of like severity that they're taking with this, right? Like, it's not something that's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna throw on these shirts, you'll see them, like make sure we have cameras out. Like, they had a plan in place, and I thought it was very well executed. But there's some more exciting news in the WNBA, because we had some of it in our very own backyard, TD Garden last week. The Indiana Fever took on the Connecticut Sun. It was a sold-out crowd, 19,000 fans for the WNBA's second ever game at the Garden. Jaylen Brown showed up. We had the Boston Legacy making an appearance, making sure to give a little handshake to Aaliyah Boston, the new investor of the new NWSL team in Boston. So did this give you a little bit of a glimpse into what it might look like to have a WNBA team here in Boston?
Big time, because the show out was tremendous, and like, you had, you mentioned it, a few like athletes, like figureheads that we know in the professional sports realm, but I mean, there were all sorts of celebrities that showed up for this, and they didn't do it to save face. I mean, some of them you didn't even realize were there until after the fact, when they posted a quick picture or like got caught up in the background of a picture. So I think it really highlighted the excitement and like the rally if like a WNBA sports team or basketball team couldn't be here. And everyone that was interviewed around the game and stuff like that, like, it wasn't just like a show up and then the crowd thinned out. Like, it was an intense game. Everybody was like very invested and just high on it after the fact. And like Barstool Sports, like they took to social media after to be like, this is exciting. Like, we love watching this. We're not just watching this to put on a face. Like, I'm invested. I pay attention. So I feel like Boston would really lose it if like, I don't know, a team
Hey, we never know.
Gets to get into the mix.
We've done the expansion shows. Maybe we'll have like a breaking news.
Yeah, I know. I hope we get that.
I hope we do.
And a light and a button.
No, I have serious FOMO though, because I've been out of town for both of these games at TD. I'm like, man, like it's gonna take another year for me to get there. So maybe we'll have a pop-up, you know, playoff neutral site. I don't know. Something.
I was devastated because like last minute I had a friend reach out and be like, do you want to go? And I'm like, I do want to go. I also have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning for Boston to enter the chat. So Travis and I got to, you know, pretend like we were there, live vicariously, since we were like on little sleep the next morning.
Hard work. Kasey's doing hard work. Hey, well, when we come back, we got a lot more WNBA talk to cover, more All-Star game, more TD Garden, and some fun new mid-season grades from ESPN. So stay tuned when we come back. Welcome back to Respect Her Game. We got a fun segment for you guys here because ESPN released the mid-season grades for all 13 WNBA teams, but Kasey and I are going to put a little twist on it. We're going to add a song that represents 2 teams that we picked out for their season so far. So Kasey, I'll let you start.
Ooh, okay. Should I start positive? Okay, I'll go positive.
Should I start positive? Get good or bad?
I know. Minnesota Lynx, and I chose Something About a Woman by Thomas Rhett and Teddy Swims. I just went to their concert on Saturday, so it was fitting, but I'll leave it at this. Lord, I can't even function now because there's something about a woman. Minnesota Lynx getting an A, A plus or A, just solid A. But we already know how high I've been on like Napheesa Collier, her complete game, offensively, defensively. I feel like she brought that kind of energy for the All-Stars because we saw them have a solid defensive performance to a degree, keeping some players from racking up some points. So her leadership ability, her skill set, Minnesota Lynx, something about a woman, just lets you know where the WNBA is heading.
That is so good. I also love that you were like, yeah, I also went to Thomas Rhett. Like, it's a good little tie in there because you probably get that live, real feel of the concert, too.
Oh, I did. I was feeling the something about a woman buzz for like the entire
You're like,
24
Minnesota
hours.
Lynx, boom, first thing I'm thinking about.
Right there. I'm thinking about work while I am at concerts. So.
Hey, I told you she was hardworking before the break. Well, let me just run through the grades really quick. Minnesota Lynx, like you said, A. Phoenix Mercury, A. Golden State Valkyries, A-. New York Liberty, B+. Washington Mystics, B+. Atlanta Dream, B. Seattle Storm, B-. Indiana Fever, B-. Los Angeles Sparks, C-. C's get degrees. Chicago Sky, C-. C's get degrees. Dallas Wings, D+. Las Vegas Aces, D. And Connecticut Sun, F's do not get degrees. I'm so sorry.
And it's the lone F
and it's the
on
lone
the
F.
charts. Yeah. Who's your
Who's my number one?
star?
I went with the Indiana Fever, and immediately break even came into my mind because that the lyric that says, what am I supposed to do when the best part of me was always you? And man, I just was like, Caitlin Clark, like she's been in and out of this lineup. They've had an up and down season. They were on that verge of that number 8 spot. Now I believe they're number 6, but B-, like they're there, but then they're not there. They're constantly up and down. And then the still alive, but I'm barely breathing. Like I just was like, that encapsulates what it is. They've been up and down and they're there. Like this is a team who has shown that they can win championships with the Commissioner's Cup. But I just feel like they're hanging on. Just hanging on.
Gosh, that's such a good one and very nostalgic for me because like I had just got my little Jetta and like that was one of the songs that we were blaring in my car. Yeah, and like didn't have a boyfriend yet, but he was already kind of annoying. So it was just like, there you are, barely breathing all the time.
Break even. All right, who do you got for number 2?
Okay, number 2. Sticking. I'm laughing because Trevor had a reaction out in the bullpen to this one. Okay, so I chose Connecticut Sun, the lone F that we mentioned in the mix, and I chose Morgan Wallen's Kiss Her in Front of You.
Okay.
Because if Connecticut Sun end up turning into the Boston something or other, like, you know, you got your ex just like right there in your face.
Oh, this is so
And then on top of it, like, they're not going to come here and become an F team. We don't know that they're coming here. I'm just saying, like, hypothetical. So say Connecticut Sun turns in Boston, whatever, like, they're going to be at least like a C, B team off the jump, maybe even an A-, like the Valkyries.
Hey, you never know.
Imagine, like, Kiss Her in Front of You. Like,
I don't even want to tell you mine because that was so creative. But I'm going to go with the Valkyries, and I chose Unwritten. They're 10-12. They've been up and down. They were in that top 8 earlier this season, but I just think that I'm undefined. I'm beginning. The pen is in my hand. Like, this is an inaugural season. The pen is completely in their hand. They have the opportunity to write history completely for themselves. And, you know, they're in California, so let the sun illuminate, like, roll down the window. This song is one of those songs that you just belt out. So I'm like, California makes sense.
Oh yeah, I always think of Glenn Powell singing it to the top of his lungs, but it does make total sense also because we were just raving about them on one of the previous Respecter games, like getting their head coach getting coach of the month in June and like how well they've done. Like it wasn't expected for them to kind of break out the way that they have, and they're putting the pieces together so well. Love Unwritten. I think that that's very suitable.
Unwritten is one of my most favorite songs, so anytime I can like toss it in there, I'm like, man, you listen to Unwritten in a Valkyrie's uniform with the window down, like that's their next hype video, that's their next music video, whatever it is. But
get somebody to make the TikTok. We'll send it over to the marketing department as we consistently do here on Respecter.
I love it. Well, that's enough for our creative juices for today. But hey, when we come back, we'll get you our Girl on Fire unanimous this week, so stay tuned when we come back. Hey, welcome back to Respect Your Game. This week we have a unanimous Girl on Fire. So should we say it on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Angel Reese. I wasn't really sure if we were going to get that. You never know with those things.
But I was wondering about like tone too, like where we were going to flex out her name the most, but we did it. We got there.
Hey, we did it. Angel Reese, NBA 2K, 26 cover athlete. She's leading the Sky in scoring, rebounds, and assists. And she just came out with her own Reebok shoe. And I love the Reeboks. I would wear those Zigs back in the day.
Ooh,
love those.
I actually, I mean, I'm a Reebok fan because cheerleading. We used to have to do the high top Reeboks for like All-Stars and stuff, and it was like when you got that fresh pair of like sneakers with the rest of your uniform, it was like, yeah, we're gonna crush this. Who knew? But I
was a wannabe cheerleader, so I just had the Zigs for the look.
I'm glad you had the look to go with it.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like, shout out to Angel Reese because this is a huge accomplishment. I think just being able to be on a cover of something just gives you that confidence too on and off the court with what you need. And hey, look, she's able to promote her shoe with it too.
Yeah, and I feel like I mean, she very much embodies confidence in a number of ways. And for her to be as young as she is and freshly, in her second year of the WNBA, it kind of touches back to the conversation in the previous or 2 segments ago. Like, she's been a spearheading voice in like making sure that things change for the WNBA. So like to be able to be a voice in there and then to like also like add your own fashion icon ability to it, like, branding is exposure, and exposure is going to help add money, value, and eyes to the WNBA. So she's one of those people that are on top and in the mix of these conversations becoming more important.
Yeah, it's everything. And just with the increase that we've seen with the WNBA, it's so key to have these like superstars. And I think seeing that they're so young, it's going to give confidence to those college players next year and the year after that to be like, hey, I'm not going to come in as a rookie and kind of play my, I'm younger.
Play
like
safe,
these women, we are going to see rookies in the WNBA showing out and coming in full confidence because of the women who have really laid the ground for them.
Yeah, Clark and Reese have very much done that. I mean, how sick does it look to be on the cover of a video game? I mean, what is it, the WNBA edition of 2K26? She looks sick. I mean, I would be very excited to be on the cover of any sport, but let alone the one that you're just like tearing it up in. And she's been on a tear. I believe it was said that, 8 double-doubles? And to have so much consistency and flair to her game, like, and she's not somebody who talks about it too much. She's very social in terms of like what she tweets out and whatnot, but she's not like game result social, which is pretty cool to see sometimes.
No, it's got to be so cool to have yourself in a video game. My little brother Henry plays college football at UCLA, and I know he's gotten Snapchats of young boys playing with him just being on the roster. Like, he might not be on the cover, but he's on the roster, and it's such a cool feeling. Probably something we might not experience unless they come out with a Respect Your Game video game.
Is there like a broadcasting video game?
What was your one video game that you played or app that you were like religiously on growing up?
Oh, I played FIFA a lot, but then my brother and his friends, like we used to fight each other to get home to take over the TV. I wanted to watch Gilmore Girls. He wanted to play Madden, and then the whole neighborhood was in my living room playing Madden. So
let the girl watch Gilmore Girls.
I mean, that's all I wanted. But eventually I ended up playing and getting pretty good at it to the point like when I got to college and like I met my boyfriend in college and we were playing in his dorm room and me and him used to kind of like con his friends. They used to be like, just let her play a little bit, and then I'd like whoop him in it. And he'd be
I
like,
love that.
He'd be like, she snuck up on me too. I didn't know.
So
She was
good.
so
Hey,
good.
respect Kasey's video game, Madden game. Absolutely love that. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to Respect Your Game. I'm Annabelle Hasselbeck, Kasey Hudson. We'll see you next week.